Today's live NFL mailbag is powered by the Fetch Rewards app. Use it to scan receipts for points to get gift cards for your favorite store or restaurant. Free download at chatsports.com/fetch. Promo code CHAT gets you 3,000 bonus points. First question from Justin Brigham. Falcons give pick 8 and Ridley for the Eagles' 15th and 16th picks. So to put this in perspective, using the more updated NFL trade value chart, that values Calvin Ridley at roughly a late first-round pick. So I don't think it's actually that bad of a trade. The Falcons get 2 first-rounders at a position they'd probably like to get more first-round picks at. They could spend a receiver pick on one of them, still get a pretty decent pass rusher, I would think, at 15 or 16. So I think it's actually a pretty good trade idea. I would wonder if the Eagles don't want to do that. Maybe they want to give up less than that, but it's a good idea. From Meme, there we go. Do the Texans have a chance with J.C. Jackson? If Jackson wants to follow the money, yeah, I think so. I don't love his scheme fit with Levis, who runs less cover 2 than he did in the past, but still some cover 2 in there. I think Jackson might just get franchise tagged by New England. Don't let him leave. So they got a chance. I wouldn't consider a likely one in the end. From Claptimus Prime. Oh, wow. How does a Andre Dillard for Tyler Boyd trade sound? Creative idea, player for player. The Bengals might not want to do that because Tyler Boyd's still a really good football player. Dillard, I think both those guys would be roughly worth a second rounder, maybe a little bit less for Boyd. But I think for the Bengals in particular, I don't think you want to take your strength, your biggest strength, which is receiver, and make that weaker just to make one of your weaknesses a little bit better. It's a creative idea. I think the Bengals would rather just trade a draft pick for Andre Dillard, which I do think is a good idea for both parties involved. Andy Stewart, is Mariota to the Steelers the best move for the franchise? The best move, I believe, is to go trade for a franchise QB, and that's an Aaron Rodgers, a Wilson, etc. If you want to just kind of kick the can down the road a little bit and just have a veteran, I think Mariota could make some sense at that point in terms of the value for the QB situation, but we'll see. Super chat from Atlantis Gaming. Will Von Miller return to the Denver Broncos? I don't think it's that outlandish. I think there are a bunch of teams that are going to have interest this year in Von Miller. I think Denver does make sense. If they get a franchise QB, then Von might want to go back to Denver. And how great of a move would that be for Denver? That is the Aroldis Chapman trade, if you want to cross sports here, where the Yankees dealt him, got him from your prayer, and then re-signed him in the offseason. Some teams that also make sense. Rams, the Browns have been linked before. The Rams could just re-sign him, of course. The Chargers got some ties, and, of course, Dallas makes sense because he's kind of home from there. So where will Von Miller play in 2022? If you get the ad break here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down to the pinned comment and make your predictions as to where Miller plays this upcoming season. From Taylor Holland, based on when they came out only, Malik Willis have a better chance to be Dak Prescott upside or Dwayne Haskins 2.0. So I don't think I think that the player comparison from play style standpoint don't really do it for me. Willis is way more athletic than either of those guys is and more raw as a passer. Prescott has had success because he has been one of the premier workers in the NFL and is pretty darn accurate and great pre-snap. Malik Willis is not there yet in those areas, in the pre-snap area. You're probably looking more, if you want to go play style fits, in the Jalen Hurts mold. I think he's more of a runner than Prescott is, but Willis is a better runner than Hurts is. The Lamar Jackson style of QB, those dual threats, but he's got a cannon too. So Willis has more upside than either of those two guys did, but he's also not there yet as a passer. If he hits, I think he's a top 10 QB. I am concerned about him hitting, though. So I'm not really answering your question, which he's more like. I think if you're looking for a play style of those two, I think the closest thing to Prescott this year is actually probably Desmond Ridder. the UC quarterback. They got some strengths and weaknesses there. Willis, I'm looking to see if I have a player comp here for me in my notes, though I've already finished him up here. I think, here's my player comp for Willis. Stronger armed version and a bit more athletic of Tyrod Taylor. They're very similar builds. Their athletic testing wasn't that different either. Now, Willis's arm and upside is better than Taylor's is, but he's got to prove it first. The highs are incredible. The lows from Malik Willis are pretty concerning as well. Today's show, as mentioned, powered by the Fetch Rewards app. Not only can you use it to scan any receipt from any store or restaurant, you can link your email and your Amazon account as well to rack up points for whatever you buy from there. Because if you're like me, you're using Amazon all the time. You shop heavily at Amazon because life is so much easier. Make your receipts work for you. Earn points for any receipt, virtual or physical copy, to get points that you can then redeem for gift cards to any store or restaurant. Download the app for free at chatsports.com/fetch and use promo code CHAT for 3,000 bonus points. Put that link in the comments section and in the description. From Obasa Abidi, hope I got that right. Cousins and hefty draft capital for Trey Lance, reunion for Shanahan mobility for Minnesota. I don't think so. I think if Shanahan really wanted Kirk Cousins, he wouldn't have traded for Trey Lance. So, creative idea. I'll give you credit for that. I don't see how there's any chance the Niners would move on from Lance this year. There just makes no sense. From Mark, Super Chat. Thanks, Mark. Aloha. How's Junior? Baby Lydia's doing well. Don't care for Wentz, but let's be honest. He has an elite RB and very average receivers. Nice to see him on a team with some playmakers. I get where you're coming from the receiver standpoint, but we've also seen Wentz in different situations on different teams, and he hasn't been that good for a while. So I think the Colts are overreacting a little bit, but I don't think he's that guy overall. From Swaggy G, what are your thoughts on Wilson? Possibility to the Eagles, and what is a possible destination for Kyler Murray? For Wilson, I think unless he wants out, he's staying in Seattle. If he does want out, the Eagles should be all over that. That organization liked him coming out of the draft. They missed on him because they messed up. Don't want people to tell you otherwise. They failed. Of course, they got Nick Foles, they won a title, so it all kind of worked out in the end. The Eagles have the draft capital to make a splash. So if it's Wilson or Murray or somebody, they have the picks and a young, cheap QB to be, I think, one of the best contenders for a QB if one becomes available. So they publicly say they're backing Jalen Hurts. I believe them for now. I don't think it is likely that they make a big-time splash, but if a team wants to get aggressive, Philadelphia is definitely one to keep an eye out for. From Mark again, thank you, my friend. Not a fan of Dak, but why do people keep talking about trading him? He has a no-trade clause, and there's this thing called a salary cap hit, right? 50 plus million. Mark, you are absolutely right. There's no chance the Cowboys trade Dak Prescott. People who keep suggesting it are not smart people, or at least are not doing good research on the logistics of such a move. If you want more free NFL videos, boy, have you guys come to the right spot. Hit that big red button and subscribe today for free NFL videos on news, rumors, trades, draft, free agency, and mailbags like these. Hit that big red button and subscribe today. From Taylor Holland, with Mike McDaniel being a former run game coordinator, is it a guarantee he goes for a splash trade or signing at running back, and if a trade, who? I think you have to remember this, though, too, Taylor. Mike McDaniel comes from the Shanahan system. And what do we know about the Shanahan system? Running backs don't actually matter in that system because no matter who it is, they're going for 1,000 yards. You're drafting guys in round 5, signing UDFAs who are combining for well over 1,000 yards. They do not need a premium back at the position. Now, the Dolphins have a glaring need at the position, so they will add somebody. Is it a big-time splash trade? I'm not so sure. Signing somebody or taking an early draft pick? I do think that makes sense for Miami. From Tyrod the Truth. Hope this isn't Tyrod Taylor mad at me for saying Malik Willis could be better than him. Will Terron Armstead, or where will Terron Armstead sign this offseason? Armstead is one of the best left tackles and best offensive players overall in this year's free agency class. Now, injuries are a major red flag, but man, there are teams that got to get help along the offensive side. So 5 that could make some sense. Miami, with some overlap coaching staff-wise with Armstead. They make sense, glaring and money to spend. Seattle, Dwayne Brown's a free agent. They got money to burn. A re-signing with New Orleans makes sense too. Pittsburgh could be a dark horse to get aggressive. And if the Colts can figure out QB and want to invest in a left tackle that's not Eric Fisher, they could be a dark horse team as well. So what do you guys think? Well, wow, I keep saying that weird today. Where will Terron Armstead play in 2022? Shoot your shot and let me know in the comments section. Bryce Ward, Rodgers to Pittsburgh. In return, get 2 firsts, a 4th with Najee Harris. Harris makes no sense, though, for Green Bay. They have Aaron Rodgers and they have A.J. Dillon. So Harris will say he's got first-round value here. You're giving up a good player, and I like that you did that because so often that doesn't happen. You're just giving the guy you don't want. But I don't think he makes sense for Green Bay. So a different player or another premium pick, I think you got a pretty good offer. ECK Sports, if the Giants get a QB this offseason, should they go with options like Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, try guys like Jimmy G, Carson Wentz, or draft like Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett? I think the order should be go big. Get Russ, Watson, Rodgers, Kyler, if you can. Not easy to guarantee that, but if you can do it, it's a good idea. Then I would draft somebody. I don't really want to spend a first-round pick on one of those guys. It's not fun, but the upside's certainly there for some of them. And then I'd fall back on a Jimmy G, Carson Wentz. They're probably better than Daniel Jones, but are they good enough for you? I don't think so. From Super Pony, Kirk Cousins to Indy. Maybe. Again, contracts are tough for Indy right now because you're going to have to pay Carson Wentz something this year. Kirk Cousins is super expensive, and that makes it tricky to maximize the value on him in terms of a trade and figuring out his own contract. I think he'd be a good player for Indy. I think he'd be a good fit in the Frank Reich offense, but you'd have to commit to him long term. That could be scary for some teams, Colts included. O'Connell 75. What is the dream draft pick for the Giants in round 1? I think the dream at 4 in particular is probably Evan Neal. He might go number 1 overall, but he can play across line, which is a good fit for the Giants. I think Andrew Thomas is your left tackle. I think beyond just 4, I think your dream is somehow, which is really tough to say, get 2 of the following 4 players. Either Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau. Feels unlikely that one of those guys even there at 4. And then Evan Neal or Ike Mekwonu at number 7. Again, feels unlikely, so you're probably going to get one of those 4 at pick number 4. Who is your favorite NFL draft prospect this year? Is it my guy, Kyle Hamilton? Who's also my best, by the way. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section.